Hi everyone and welcome to the Shotokan Chronicles. In today's video, was karate created by farmers and peasants? Legend has it that karate was developed in Okinawa for farmers to battle against samurais. There may be some truth to this, but you will have to wait till the end of the video to see exactly where this myth may have come from. First off, let's look at some of the pioneers of karate in Okinawa. Let's start with Bushi Matsumura, born in 1809, died in 1899. Right here, there should be a photo of Matsumura. It's a nice little drawing. It was a woodcut. Notice his distinctive eyes, how they were cut. He was according to his descriptions, he had very interesting eyes. Matsumura was widely associated with martial arts. So much so that he gained the nickname Bushi, which literally means warrior. He started training in the Okinawan fighting system known as Tei at a very young age. His instructor was Sakagawa Kanga. Matsumura would become a very important figure in Okinawa, not only famous for his martial arts knowledge, but also for his job. Matsumura served the Sho family. They were the royal family of the Ryukyu kingdom. He served as the chief martial arts instructor and bodyguard to King Sho Ko. He would maintain this position for the last two Okinawan kings, Sho Ikkyu and Sho Tai. So definitely Matsumura was not a farmer or a peasant. Next, Anko Asato, 1827 to 1906. This is a rendition of Asato. There is no actual photos or woodcuts. This is by a description. To me, he looks a little bit like John Goodman in this. Asato's family belonged to the Tunchi, which is a class, hereditary title, basically the town chieftain or the village chieftain. He held authority in the village of Asato, which lied halfway between Shuri and Naha. There's not too much known about Asato, except for what was written by his student Geishin Funakoshi. But knowing that he was a chieftain and was in charge of a village, kind of rules out that he was a peasant. He may have done some farming to sustain his living, but he definitely, as a chieftain, would have not been a peasant. He would have had titles and lands, etc. Now we'll move on to Anko Itotsu, 1831 to 1915. This is an image that is believed to be Master Itotsu. Itotsu was also one of the instructors of Geishin Funakoshi. Itotsu, much like Matsumura, grew up in a prominent family. He was well versed in the Chinese classics, which was a very important thing for the Okinawan nobility. His martial arts training started under Nagahama, but later he would transfer over to Matsumura. Itotsu served as a secretary to the last king of the Ryukyu kingdom until Japan abolished the Okinawan-based native monarchy in 1879. When Admiral Perry from the United States visited Okinawa in an effort to bring about the opening up of Japan, Itotsu and Matsumura were notably accompanying the king of Okinawa. So it is clear to say that Itotsu was not a peasant. The last man that I'm going to mention, being from a Shotokan lineage, will be Geishin Funakoshi. Funakoshi was born in 1868 and he passed away in 1957. Funakoshi was trained by both Itotsu and Asato and is commonly known as the father of modern karate. He's the founder of the Shotokan system and introduced Okinawan karate to mainland Japan. Funakoshi was born into a prominent family as well. His father was a samurai. During his education, he passed the entrance exam to become a medical student. However, at the time, the top knot was banned because of the Meiji Restoration. Due to this, he was not accepted into the school. After this, he was very disappointed and decided that he would remove his top knot, much to the chagrin of his family because of the noble title, and he would go and study to become a teacher. He was already well versed in the Japanese and Chinese philosophical teachings. Funakoshi would move up through the education system, becoming a teacher, and I do believe at one point he was also a principal. So definitely Master Funakoshi, like Matsumura, Asato, and Itotsu, was not a farmer or a peasant. You got to remember though, in these times everyone was rather poor. They didn't have a lot of money and they had to do different things to gain their money. So everyone would have probably had a small garden that they were growing their own vegetables in. They would fish, they would trap, etc. to get the food and stuff that they needed. Higher ups, for example, like Itotsu and Matsumura, would have probably dined at the palace with the king on occasion, or would have had some kind of stipend from the royal family to keep them going. So where does the idea of karate being developed for farmers and peasants come from? Well, for one, Okinawa was viewed as a backwater territory of Japan. The people there were all farmers, fishermen, thugs, and ruffians, not like the well-educated, noble, and honorable Japanese. This is far from the truth. The people of Okinawa were more associated with China, and the Japanese were very intolerant to the Chinese. And that's part of the reason why Tode was changed to karate. Tode, which means Chinese hand, was changed to karate, which means empty hand. In actuality, farmers had little to no spare time to practice karate. How could you develop a fighting system if you only had a few minutes after your day in the fields? They would spend every waking minute toiling on their farmland from sunup to sundown. Just like every other feudal territory around the world throughout time, the peasants had to pay tribute to their king. How else would a farmer or a peasant be able to raise the funds needed to pay the taxes to the royalty of their territory? Farmers had to farm. So where else could this myth have come from? Well, when the Japanese abolished the Rikyo kingdom, the prominent families were no more. Some of these men were forced to become farmers to survive. Some of these men were forced to go into poverty. So karate was obviously developed by and for samurai. By and for the elite. Samurai literally means to serve. So anyone who worked for the royal family of Okinawa would have been samurai. And this was a noble class. So obviously, farmers and peasants did not have the time, or the ability, or the money to be able to become karate masters. Years later, this would have been true when anyone could have taken up the time to practice the martial arts, much like today. Thanks for watching. I hope that I was able to help dispel this myth a little bit. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button below. And to avoid missing out on any of my future videos, make sure you kick that subscribe button, ring the bell, so you get a notification whenever we release something new. And be sure to check out my kata videos, which there should be an icon popping up right about here somewhere. And there'll be more icons over here to some of my other videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time on the Shotokan Chronicles.